Everybody, welcome to Wings on Katella, episode 39. It has been a minute, to say the least, at the fault of like all of us. Mostly me, mostly Thomas. You guys, I know you guys did a show in between, right? On over in
On
Ducks
Leo.
in
Yeah.
Deep, where our friend Zachary Cavanagh plays host here. Hopefully, hopefully you get the trio of us as opposed to only when we talk kind of thing. But Zach, good to see you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's
That
been it's been a very busy summer for me and I'm happy to enjoy this time of nothing, which is nice.
World Cup is done.
It may be done forever based on
Uh,
today's
Today's news was
today's
pretty awesome.
proceedings.
I'm not
Oh
following
boy.
soccer. What happened?
The new president, or not the new president, the president of FIFA is basically trying to get private equity to buy stake in the World Cup. So the European nations were like, screw that, we're boycotting you now. So, and
55
then
nations.
all 55 UEFA nations said that they're going to boycott FIFA events until this is put to rest. CONCACAF, within the last hour, said that they are rejecting FIFA's plan, but they haven't announced a boycott as of yet. So, and luckily, there's only the Women's World Cup next year, which is kind of a big deal. So let's see if we have one.
All right.
So good. Just to give you an idea of when we are recording, pending release as well. It is what, 1 o'clock on
July
Thursday,
30th.
Thursday, July
July
30th.
30th.
I
So
never know
no,
what day
yeah,
it is. I only know the date.
Thursday, July 30th, 1 o'clock. So, and I think based on Thomas Murray, who is not with us, editor and producer here at Wings on Catella, I believe we're gonna pull like an album release where like it comes out 12 o'clock Eastern. It comes out tomorrow, but I think it's gonna be like a 9 o'clock release for you guys. So hopefully you get to see this tonight. If not, enjoy us in the morning. Zach Cavanagh, you can find his work at the Sporting Tribune. You can find him on socials at Zach Cav, ZACHCAV. That is Jack Janes. Jackery Janes, good to see you, man. What's going on?
Busy. I feel like the only time I'm ever home is to sleep, and that's for only a few hours at a time, it feels like these days. But, we're plugging along, staying super busy, trying to do a bunch of different things at the same time. So,
Attaboy.
It's a glamorous
Attaboy. So,
lifestyle we live.
yes.
yeah, it really is.
Um, you guys can find Jack Jane's work on the Sporting Tribune as well. Angels, Ducks, Kings, etc. I did not give you this. I did not give you the King season. Sorry, pal.
That's
But
all right with me.
that's not why we're here. You guys follow Jack Janes on socials at Jack Janes underscore. We talk about Orange County sports, and there's quite a bit to talk about when it comes to Orange County sports over the last month. I've been gone. Like I said, it's my fault, guys. My bad. Let's kind of start with what's going on with the Angels. They our last episode was actually the firing of Perry Manassian, and I did have their season record since Perry Manassian was gone, and I don't know what it is now, but it's like 8-18. It's not great. Kind of the way the season has gone for the Angels. They are sellers at the deadline, if you could not tell already, based on the trade that occurred yesterday, trades that are anticipated to occur over the next few days. Let's start with the call or the one that we had yesterday. Logan O'Hoppe, Chase Silseth headed to the Arlington Rangers and bringing back I forgot the kid's name already. That's not a good
Minor league
start.
Angel
infielder.
Arredondo.
Angel Arredondo, yes, little infield prospect that was hitting okay down in low A. He's going to be assigned to low A. We can talk about it, but I think initial reaction, Zach, you had a pretty loud initial reaction to this one. What are your thoughts? I keep in mind where the Angels are at, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's just, I, I understand the idea of becoming sellers and tearing down. Again, we've talked plenty of times about the parallels between the Ducks and the Angels in our time covering the teams and how the Ducks were in a very similar position to do the same thing. So I get it, totally makes sense. But I don't know anything about I already forgot his name, Angel in the infield. Um,
Angel and
Angels in
Arredondo.
the infield.
yeah, um, it just doesn't. It's you're just getting rid of guys and not really bringing back anything of real import. And that doesn't seem like the proper way to rebuild. It's a great way to tank, I guess, but you're going to tank for next year with an interim general manager. Is he going to be interim? I guess that's another question we can ask.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can touch on
it,
it.
it wasn't unsurprising to see them trade Ohapi or Silseth. It's sort of just surprising again the return and the when and every other question you want to have the why. Like I just it was a real head scratcher for me as somebody that's not paying attention as much. I keep tabs, but to see a guy that he is one of the guys that has his face on the outside of the stadium, is he not? Ohapi?
Logan?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I
to
didn't even
just
think of that.
to just unceremoniously dump him before the deadline for with another player for one minor league prospect doesn't seem like a good use of assets to me.
Obviously, Jack, you wrote the story on the trade or at the Sporting Tribune, but just to kind of give you an idea of like the trade occurred, found out Arredondo was coming back in the trade, and I mean, like I like to call myself a prospect guy. I'd never heard of him, so I started asking questions. Right, you start sending texts, and I'm texting scouts. I sent a few texts to the Angels, which some went returned, some didn't. I don't want to say anything to get anybody in trouble, but every response came back as either non-prospect or yeah, he has a tool here or there. It, essentially, the nicest way I could put it is there were 30 better prospects remaining after the trade in the Angels organization. So this is just not a guy that's going to be a top 30 prospect in this organization. That's the return for him. Now, could he be one eventually? Yes, but like the biggest thing about this entire trade, it did not make the Angels organization better. It didn't make the organization better. And that's it. Is sure, this kid maybe he gets a sniff of major league time at some point in his career, but it's not like there was any impact. I don't think they're going to match the impact of what you could have gotten for Chase and Logan for the next 3 years. Both of them. That's where it's like this didn't seem like a big win in any direction. It didn't seem like it impacted the organization. Felt a little bit like a salary dump, which I know it's only what 2 million this year, if even. It's not 2 million
Yeah.
this year. It's like you're sitting at like $1 million change this year alone, but going into the next 3 years, you're talking about 10, 15 million combined in arbitration for those two guys. But it just was very minimal. Sorry for the skip there, guys. But yeah, like it's just it didn't improve the organization. Jack, you were there, kind of got response immediately. I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts on this based on comments made by interim general manager. But what were your thoughts on this?
It was weird. I had kind of not a strong reaction, but I had a reaction to the initial trade, but then after a little bit, just kind of a no reaction once I saw the return. The reaction I have is like you've lined, or like Zach said, O'Hoppy's got his face on the stadium as one of the six guys. He was a player that was supposed to be a pillar for the next wave of Angels baseball, and it just never materialized. He had strong seasons in 23 and 24, but since then it's just been a steady decline. Offensively, defensively, everything's just been not up to par. It's been really bad. He's been one of the worst hitters in baseball this year. And it sucks to see because obviously Logan's such a nice guy. He cares and he's one of the hardest working guys out there. But it just wasn't working out for him. And I think this is a good opportunity for him to change the scenery and you know just kind of mentally reset. So given where his struggles were at, I wasn't expecting any value to really come back in a Logan O'Hoppe trade. Now you add in Chase Silseth, who's been really good out of the bullpen this year in some high leverage situations, although never really a closer. Um, relievers, I always have a hard time picking up on what a reliever should demand at the trade deadline, just because, especially when you're not a closer, I feel like the return value kind of varies.
You've
And
already
also a
replaced.
guy in Silseth, like this is the first time he's really seen success at the major league level, and sustained success, I should say. But, relievers are very finicky. He's one, like every reliever's one bad outing away from having a, 3.7 ERA on the season or a 4 ERA on the season. Just look at Reed Detmers last year. So to get this guy back, I mean, he's got, like you said, he's not a real prospect, but he's got some things I am interested in, not necessarily in terms of like I think he's going to be really good, more so I want to see how this kind of plays out. Um, he's very patient at the plate, but he gets the most out of his swings, it looks like. He's 19 years old, 6 foot, 190, so he's got some room to grow a little bit in terms of size, like his weight. He could put on some muscle a little bit and get some more power, but he doesn't chase, but he also doesn't swing in the zone either. He's very selective with his swings, but when he does, he puts the ball in the air to the pole side. He doesn't hit ground balls. He's been hitting pretty well this year as a 19-year-old in low A. He walks almost as much as he strikes out. It's a profile that I am a little interested in. I don't think he's going to be anything of super great value in the major league level, but it's something, I don't know, worth keeping an eye on as he progresses in the minor leagues.
I
It just
mean,
it
go ahead.
feels like a mismanagement of assets. Like all that sounds nice, but that's not enough for either of those guys, especially
Mm,
considering the season that Silseth's having. Like
Right.
when you put them together, like if you were getting him for just Silseth, okay, maybe.
or
But like
just Logan.
or just Logan, maybe. But the fact that you package both these guys for a prospect of his stature, like that's not
And
salary dump or not, like you got to get something worthwhile for the future of the franchise, and one infielder isn't going to turn the thing around. Not that this trade needed to, but it just I don't know. It just doesn't strike me as much. No draft picks, nothing like cash, anything.
can't trade draft picks, buddy.
You can't in
I thought you
No,
baseball.
could.
not in MLB. You can trade compensation
Compensation.
picks when you have them, but no one
That's
has
still a
compensation.
draft pick.
Abolish the sport.
Yeah.
Compensation pick's
No,
still a draft pick.
like
So
Yeah.
I want to dive into this small portion. Is
You can't trade draft
Mazalok
picks,
came out
really. We'll talk
yesterday.
about that later.
No,
Sorry.
Mazalok comes out saying he's a top 10 prospect in this organization. That's more of a slap to the farm system based on the general manager's perception than it is anything else. And it's like, so John comes out, says, we need a young catcher. What does that put in Logan's head? Right? Like, Logan is a young catcher. Now, yeah, he hasn't performed. He's gone backwards. He's regressed. But it's like, so John's come out and said things that have been kind of crappy when it comes to the organization, right? Is hey, we need a young catcher. Okay, bye Logan. That was a damning comment already. Goodbye, Logan. You knew that was coming. But then you come and say that this kid that universally polled by scouts, executives, etc., from Baseball America, and I can't speak for MLB Pipeline. I know that they put him in the top 30, and good for that. Like whatever. But like this is not a top 10 prospect in the organization. So you just slapped your farm system in the face by saying something like that too. I don't want to bash this kid. I don't know him. You mentioned it. He's 6 foot, 190. Projection wise, physical projection wise, it doesn't sound like he has a ton left. He's in the 15th percentile in like hard hit rate. He just doesn't hit the ball hard. He has minimal bat speed, doesn't hit the ball hard, but like you said, his swing decisions are incredible, and that's something that goes a long way. You look at Mizalok over the last, over his tenure, right, with the Cardinals. They were doing great. They did outstanding, and they were buying really well. They were buying really well, but when they were selling, it just wasn't good. They're buying these grinder guys, right? And yeah, you want the intangibles, but like this felt so much model strictly kind of thing where it's like he's 19, he walks, right? It just doesn't do it for me. And yes, like I said, there's the glove work is going to be really the thing that probably puts him into a future role to some degree, but it's not a top 30 guy for a farm system that's not, it's still maybe in the teen to 25 range, right? It's not a bottom five farm system, but it's definitely not a top 15 farm system either. So I don't know. That's where I kind of sit with is like you said, the value return was it just what's your job as a general manager is to improve the entire organization. This didn't improve the organization at all. So maybe it improved the the wallet to a small degree, but I don't see it. So
But you mentioned that before, and I was going to say it before we jumped off for the split second. If the Angels are in the market of shedding salary, and that's the amount of salary that you're shedding, like,
you're not moving arbitration guys.
well, that, but like, if you're again, we go back to my favorite pegging point that we keep going back to. If you're Artie Moreno and you think you're a big time, big market owner, you're shedding salary. You think the Dodgers shed salary? Like, just suck it up and pay the guy. It's not like you're pay. It's not like he's. Uh, it's not like Mike Trout money that fell off a cliff or something, and just he's not Anthony Rendon that we're worrying about here. Logan O'Hoppy's salary is really what you're concerned about paying going forward. Then
He's
you're
owed
not a
a
serious organization. Like, what are you doing if that's what your mindset is at this point?
no, you're fine. So, um, anything else to add on this, guys? Before we're just going to keep adding to what is the deadline here. The Angels do have some assets. Obviously, you've got Reed Detmers, Jose Soriano, Sam Bachman might bring something, right? Maybe Ryan Zefferjon brings something to a degree. Zach Neto obviously is going to be the big ticket here. I think Detmers is the highest value, but Zach Neto is a surprise. Um, Jack, I mean, you've been and going back to Logan real quick. Something about Logan, yes, and not that Chase wasn't a good guy, but Logan was the best guy. Logan was a great guy. Wish him well in everything he does. He gets in his head way too much. Got to get him out of his head. He needs this mental reset more than anybody. I think he's still going to be a heck of a ball player.
He's just one of those guys where there is such a thing as trying too hard, and that's exactly what's I wouldn't say derailed, but that's been hindering Logan O'Hoppe his whole career.
He's been
Is
pressing for 2.5 years.
Yeah, right. He's the type of guy that he goes over 4 and takes 1,000 swings in the cages right after the game ends and is up until 2, 3 in the morning in the cages.
Yep. Thinking about what he could have done differently,
Right.
and then it just doesn't. It's and then he's in the box the next time he's in the box, he can't throw away the last at bat.
Squeezing
So
the stick too hard.
I wouldn't say it was it's I wouldn't say it's he can't throw away the last at bat. It's focusing too much on what can I do in the next at bat, if that makes sense.
yeah. So either way, best of wishes to both Chase and Logan. Chase was a good guy too, but Logan was just world
Great
class.
walk-up song too for Chase.
What was it?
Get silly.
So hopefully this isn't a preview for whatever the return is on anyone that was mentioned, right? And maybe like Ryan Zefferjon or Sam Bachman, if they're moved, then you can have a similar-ish return. Maybe a little. You want a little hair better than that for those, but any names that kind of pop out that you're thinking about when it comes to Reed Detmers and Zach Neto? I mean, I think Tampa's invested heavily in either of the two primary options, and I think it's going to cost them Theo Gillen if it does. But any thoughts here, trade deadline guys? We got a lot going on here.
Yeah, it really feels like the Angels are open to really having a fire sale if the right offers are available. I'd be willing to bet that one of, Soriano or Detmers is gone. It would surprise me, but not totally shock me if both end up getting traded. It all depends on what offers are out there and what offers are available, but I do think one of them is going to be gone. Neto is interesting. Neto, you at the start of the season, I don't think it was on anybody's radar that he could have been a trade candidate at the deadline. Now with Mozeliak taking over and basically planting the seeds and saying like if the right available or if the right offer is available, we're willing to sell pieces with club control and stuff like that. And now obviously there's a lot of smoke surrounding the Boston Red Sox looking for a young shortstop. Um,
Again,
again, yeah.
a week
Uh,
apart.
they don't like their
They used to have one. What is he doing now?
he's not
He's
young and he's in
no.
San Diego. But it is kind of funny how, they're looking at Zach Neto to replace Trevor Story, and yet Zach Neto's a younger Trevor Story.
Yeah. Hey, credit to
Yeah.
give credit to Zach, but give credit to Trevor. Trevor's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. It just hasn't worked out the way they'd hoped in Boston. But yeah, Neto's going to be interesting. That's going to be a wild card for sure. He was again like another guy like Logan, supposed to be the next the pillar of the next wave of Angels, and he's held up his end of the bargain better than Logan has in terms of on-field production. This year has it's been a struggle, but it was really just the first month and a half of the season. Since late May, he's been hitting just over a tick over a 800 OPS. The errors have dried up at shortstop, although the advanced metrics still don't really love him. But he's playing more like Zach Neto over the last month and a half to 2 months. Um, so it, Zach also just wears his heart on his sleeve and is an emotional guy. So sometimes you can see the body language go. You can see, I wouldn't say the effort, but I guess it's more so the body language. The most important thing. You see him unhappy a lot this throughout the season. I'm not saying that's going to be a cause for him to get traded, but it almost looks like he's playing to. I wouldn't say playing to get traded, but he's playing for all of his options. Like
No, I mean
I
it doesn't feel like he wants to be there.
just from an outsider's perspective, what it looks like.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like we said, we're not in the room, but it feels like he doesn't want to be there.
But I could feel why he would feel that way too.
Right, right.
Like you see
Oh yeah.
how the entire franchise has sputtered around him,
Well, and
and
yeah.
yeah, you get pretty depressed. But I also think from that perspective too, from a fan base perspective, I don't know what would be more damaging to the current state of things than trading Zach Neto.
That depends. It depends on the return because if you
Sure,
get a
Yeah.
good return,
sure.
whatever. But I will say this:
But in terms of like
in
morale,
if you
like
let me put
But
on if you let me put on an Angels hat and talk as a fan, yes, it is a kick in the nuts to be bad for a decade and then lose your best player and your favorite player. But at least there's a plan and a direction, something
how,
that couldn't have been said over the last decade.
yeah,
how long have you been waiting for the word
Right.
rebuild? How long? And it's not 10 years because those first 3 years of those 10 years, you kind of were like, oh, there's a chance. Now you've needed these last 8, 9 years to really be like, man, we need the rebuild. If you're,
Right.
and that's my perspective. I'm not a fan of the Angels, but like if I am, that's the thing is if I hear that word, I actually smile.
Because at least it's a plan.
yeah. I just and that's true. I'm just saying like because there has been that veneer of hey, we're still trying, and I think if you get rid of Detmer's Neto, particularly Neto, you've officially pulled that veil off, and it will suck as long as there is, but as long as there's a plan. Because we, again, not to, as we always do, to compare and contrast either side of the 57, either side of Katella. When the Ducks, the difference was like the Ducks announced they were tearing it up, and then they tore it up, and they still had some guys to kind of like hold you over in the meantime.
This is going to be White Sox level of bad.
Right. This is
I
going to
mean, they
be
are
Yeah,
it's
they're
already in that.
they're already like the worst team in baseball,
sure.
or tied with the worst team in baseball.
So yesterday they were on pace to lose 99. I still think as of this morning it's still 99, but it might be 100 losses. But like I'm talking about White Sox losing 120 games kind of bad. I think next year you're anticipating you're anticipating a sub 60 win season.
Yeah. And I think going into next year, if this is all what happens, I think going into next year is when the acceptance kicks in and you say, okay, we have to go through this because this is what's going to come out on the other side. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, over the next, what would that be, 5, 6 months? That's when you're going to be like, ah, Jesus Christ, here we go. This is the as low as it could possibly be, would
Well, they're
be
going. I want
not
to
that
run
they've
through
already,
their.
been
They're on
down
pace for
before.
62 wins.
Yeah.
That's. I
That's
want to run
62
through
and
their
100.
since
Yeah.
Perry got fired. I want to run through it real quick. They did win that night, so they did win that night, but then they lost 7 in a row. They won a game. They lost the next one, a walk-off loss. They won the next one. Then they lost 4 in a row. Then they swept. They swept somebody. I can't remember who they swept. Uh,
Oh my God.
Either way,
Was it?
right? Giants.
No,
So
not the Twins. What the hell?
either way, they swept somebody. Then they lost three in a row. Then they won a game. Then they just got swept. They are 7-18 outside of that win that they won the other night. That's 280 baseball, man. Like
Yeah.
I mean, what's 280 times 162? That's 45 wins.
What day did Manasseh get
June
fired?
28th. They won that night. It was against the Padres. It was a
Uh,
Friday.
they have not swept anyone.
Oh, then they won three in a row
They
somewhere. And
they did win three in a row.
I
They
misread
won
that,
the
but
final game of Detroit and then the first two of St. Louis.
that's what it was. But I mean, if they play the pace that they're playing at over since Perry got fired, if they continue at that pace and that's what they play at next year, it's a record-setting pace.
I mean, you saw them in April, in middle of April to middle of May. They went what 6-24
They were awful. Yeah,
in
it
30 game
was
stretch.
right. Well, yeah, they actually played decently well right before Perry got fired. I mean, not
And
okay, decently well as in just below 500, but
and again, all that was unintentionally bad,
yeah,
right? Like it's I'm sorry, this is my one reference point. It's the difference between the Bob Murray Ducks and the Pat Verbeek Ducks, right? Of
Eh.
like we're still hanging on, we're trying, we're gonna do this, and then yet
It's
we're
a
still bad.
retool, not a rebuild, Zach.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
retool,
And
not a
then someone comes
rebuild.
in and says, we're doing the thing, which is fine. But we don't know that we don't even know that the guy who's doing it right now is going to be the guy going forward either. So I
Nope.
guess that's my question too, is like,
Do you want that or like I? There
well, no,
is
I want somebody that's going to be in charge and putting this thing on a plan going forward.
so
And
there
if
is
the
an
guy that you're
expect
trying to like start that plan right now isn't the guy that takes over that plan in November,
there is an
what's
expectancy here. A lot of people within the organization are already preparing themselves for Randy Flores to be the general manager. Now he's the assistant general manager in St. Louis, was the scouting director there. Obviously good relationship with John or with Mo. I think this is the point is if Randy Flores is the next general manager of the Angels, Mozeliak actually got to have his say. And I think John stays on as president of baseball operations no matter what. I think that it's going to be John as a partial voice in the office. But if Randy Flores is general manager of the Angels in October, November, whenever kind of thing, John got his say. If it's somebody else, you didn't need John. There was no reason to even have him.
maybe this is my ignorance of the process. Could they not try to hire him right now, mid-season, if they wanted to
Randy,
do that? Yeah.
they that's actually I don't know. That's
In
genuinely I don't think I could give you an answer on it. I'd assume they could, but I don't know.
I don't know that answer either, but I do know in the introductory press conference for Mozeliak, he was asked about the timeline of trying to find a replacement, and he said as soon as the trade deadline passes, that's when it's usually like acceptable to start reaching out
Sure, because
and
your
asking
business is done
for
for the year. Yeah.
yeah, and asking
Randy's
for
got a
like
contract with St. Louis, I'm sure, that runs
yeah,
through the
Sure.
season. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like and not just Randy, whoever,
yeah.
they have a contract they have to fulfill before because yeah.
And Mozeliak did say the goal is to get it done before the lockout, to have it all figured out before then.
Well, and that's the other option is run through a lockout without a general manager because you don't have to pay him.
Mm.
Not that should not be what it is by any sense, but like if you're
But
trying to
if
cut
we're
corners
pinching
and save
pennies,
money,
yeah.
just don't pay anybody during the process
Yeah.
because we're going to a lockout. It's but whatever.
Yeah.
Anything else on the
So
trade
so they
deadline?
won't hit
Like
the loss record next season is what you're telling me because they won't play enough games.
There we
yeah, they won't
go.
lose
There you go.
There
100,
we
but
go.
There's the
they might
positives.
lose 80, but they're not going to lose 100.
The Angels will
Okay,
only
got it.
lose 80 games out of
What do they
100.
say? They're playing 28. They're playing 280 baseball, so they're going to lose 72 games next year.
Perfect. Perfect.
Um, no, I mean like I think it's been hit on enough though. Is like Neto's going to bring back a Hall. You hope.
Yeah.
Detmers is going to bring back a Hall. You hope. Soriano, polling the industry a little bit. He's got two Tommy Johns under his belt. I don't know how many
Yeah.
people are taking on the medical of the medical is going to take away some of the return value, and that's fine. That's a fair like comment to be made. Is Jose Soriano is one throw away from never even being able to pick up a spoon, like having no actual use of his elbow. So, and you don't want that to be the case. But, and then I think Sam Bachman Joe Adell is one I'm surprised doesn't have the value,
Yeah,
I would feel
I
like.
think just because of how bad of a season he's having, because it's still a sub 7 OPS,
Well, it's a
like
sub 7
690
OPS,
something.
and he's never had a career WAR above one.
Last year was 1.4, and that
And that
was
was a,
for baseball reference WAR at least.
but that's
It
still
was
37 home runs.
right,
So, like,
right.
it's just one of those, his value, like, could the Yankees use him for a year and a half? Sure, but they have some outfit. Like, what are they going to do with Dominguez? What are they going to do with Spencer
Yeah,
Jones? Right? And like, you're not going to get Spencer Jones a return for Joe Adell.
no.
So like, Milwaukee using him. I'm just trying to think of like who could use Joe in an outfield capacity for a year and a half without
I
already having something coming back.
I thought about Milwaukee just in the sense of like Milwaukee will look at a guy like Joe Adell and says, "We can fix him."
Well, could you imagine Milwaukee adding Joe and Reed because they
Oh,
need the pitching?
I've already made the comment or made the joke that Reed's going to win a Cy Young in Milwaukee.
You have made that. You made it. Yeah, you made that joke plenty
I
of times.
probably made it on this podcast.
But like, it's not. You're not going to get Jesus Mate. Like,
No.
you're not getting Mate for that. But you could get Machuski, and like, you could get a haul from the best farm system in baseball. Problem is, you still got to develop those guys. So get the
Yeah.
upper level guys that are nearing it, and then hey, you know what? Be part of our 7 year plan because our 3 year plan is not going to be real pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you said,
Milwaukee's in
Zach,
town this
going back
weekend.
to sorry, going back to Zach's thought. When you make this trade, right? If you do trade Zach Neto, you have to come out and say, look, next 3 years, not next year, the next 3 years are going to suck. I'm sorry. We're going to lose a lot of baseball. We know we've lost a lot of baseball that's the problem with whoever this next general
It's
manager
such a
is.
hard sell because
Well,
of how long it's been. That's
and you don't know what the TV. No, you do know what TV contract. I'm thinking across the street. Sorry. But yeah. Anything else to add on the deadline here, guys?
Safe and
I'm not hearing
affordability.
anything. I'm not hearing anything.
Safe and affordability next year. That's going to be the
I would there's almost no way to get it unless you're really inside, but I would love to know Mike Trout's honest thoughts about what he's experiencing.
So it's I think I talked about this with Taylor over the phone, but in the past year and decade, really, every time he gets asked about a trade, no, I'm not getting traded, not getting traded, not getting traded. I found it interesting, and this could be way overreading into a situation, but I found it interesting at the All-Star game. Every time he got asked about a trade, he just said, "I have a no trade clause." He didn't say, "I don't want to be
Mm,
traded." He said, "I have a no trade clause." I thought that was interesting. I could be,
I
overreading into it and not, I don't know if Mike really meant it like that, but it is a
conversation
difference in attitude and difference in words of what he said over the last decade.
conversation in the spring, with a fellow journalist. I think the Angels might want to get rid of that contract. I think they want to free
I'm
up the
sure
money.
they would,
And
again,
I,
if you're in the
but
shedding
who wants it?
salary game, like
that's what I don't think it's like Artie Moreno does not want to trade Mike Trout because
of
it's
course
Mike
not.
Trout,
Yeah.
but Mike
He's
Trout's
literally the last guy they can put on the poster.
Mike Trout's 35.
Yeah.
He's 35 in like a week and a half. Um,
Which is insane to think about.
well, he's a month older than I am, so thanks.
Uh,
But no, it's Mike doesn't have an opportunity to win a playoff game if he stays here. Baseball wants him, and look, like you said, Jack. I think things have changed. I'm not saying that he's getting moved at this deadline by any sense. I don't think he is. I don't think anyone would, but yeah, if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said Mike Trout's not getting traded. Not even had the conversation. I think there's a conversation to be had right now.
yeah, I think I'm not saying the trade's imminent. I'm just saying the
Yeah,
possibility of a Mike Trout trade went from 0% to non-zero percent.
non-zero. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's hit on the draft real quick. Angels draft before we move on to the Duck stuff. Jared Grinlinger Two-way player from Huntington Beach High School, was the first round pick for the Angels. 12th overall, received the ninth highest bonus in the draft class at just under 6.8 million or 6 million. He got just over 5.8, right around or right at slot, not including the 2,500 initial bonus, which saves the Angels X amount of money, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to use him as an outfielder. Jack, you did not see Jared this year.
I
You did.
did,
You
but I
did.
wasn't covering the Angels that day, so I just walked by him. I didn't
Yeah.
actually talk
I
to him
saw
at all.
Jared pitch.
Oh, you're talking about playing. You're talking about playing.
Yes, I saw Jared
Oh,
pitch twice this year. I loved him as a pitcher. Thought he was a first round pitcher. I don't believe I've ever seen him swing a bat. I looked at my box score notes. He went 0 for 0. I saw him three times, 0 for 0 on each one with three walks. I don't know if I've ever actually seen him swing a bat, and he is an outfielder prospect. And but no, I mean like trusting the scouts on this one. Um, Projects to hit for average. Obviously, the arm is there for right field. He's barely 17 years old, so there's tons of physical projection ahead. Don't
and he's already
know.
6'3", right?
He's 6'3" or 6'4". No idea if he's going to grow into average just because he's so young and so skinny. That's a big thing. He's really, but there's a lot of project there that's looks good. And worst case scenario, throw him back on the mound. He's a heck of a pitcher. So hopefully they two-way him. I've heard that they might let him pitch next year, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Um, Obviously looking at the entirety of the Angels draft, strict, insanely model based. You could see it. I mean, I think that Tim McIlvain was given some autonomy to make his own decisions, but the model did a ton of decision making at points. You can see it in there. They do draft Jaron Advincula, second baseman from Georgia Tech in the second round. High contact, elite contact skills, swing decisions are going to be the big thing here that's going to change anything with him. I think your peak outcome, which good peak outcome if you get it, would be like a Jeff McNeil, which would be insane outcome if that's what you get. Realistically, I think it's another Adam Frazier type, which in the second round is fine. There's nothing wrong with an Adam Frazier in the second round. You get Gavin Krahovac in the third round. Jack, I'm sure you know the Krahovacs. Everyone in Southern California knows the Krahovacs to some degree, whether you were coached by Mike, his dad, or you played with Gavin, or both. So Gavin, big power hitter. Hopefully that's the one that plays out. I really like Gavin. He was probably my favorite pick from the Angels draft class. Then you go into Rylan Luho. Not a fan per se of taking any hitters from Georgia. I'm not a big fan of that. Nothing against Rylan, but also a kid that doesn't hit for power, plays center field. And then you kind of go down the list. You go down the list, it kind of carries on. Reggie Willett's son, Jackson Willett, shortstop from Oklahoma, who was a big College World Series hero. They got him in the fifth. Good value at that spot. You might get a utility big leaguer in the fifth round, which is a big deal. Trevor Hansen in the ninth round. There's a name that you and I saw quite a few times, Jack, out of Irvine. Pitchability righty. See if you can get him a plus breaking secondary to kind of play with the fastball a little bit.
And see if you can get the fastball up a tick or two.
And 93, 94. If it's got that carry at 93, 94, it'll play, and he can locate it. So just get him a half bump in command, a half bump in carry or something. I think the fastball will work. It's just not excellent. And I know that
It'll
sometimes
work as long as he's got stuff to play off
he
of
needs
it.
a secondary. He needs the real secondary. I think he's a bag of 50s, which is fine, but that just doesn't really play as much as a big leaguer. So, running through anyone else that like caught your eye, Jack, that draft pick wise, draftees?
I think you already hit on the one I was going to mention, Gavin Krahovac. Just a complete profile, offensively, especially. He had 23 home runs as a freshman in the SEC at Texas A&M. That's hard to do with a 987 OPS. And then was it injury in his sophomore
Shoulder,
season? Shoulder.
shoulder. So he couldn't throw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then obviously this past year,
he
339
played first base
average,
because he couldn't throw.
722 slug, 1150 OPS, 22 homers. Just excited to see how he will develop as a third baseman. And then this one caught my attention not because of anything on the field, but just looking at his name, I had to do a double take at Ryan Hetzler because
Mhm.
I saw Ryan and a TZE, and I was like, Getzlaff?
Oh, he's from out here.
Oh, Hetzler.
Yeah, he's Santiago. He's Corona area, I
Okay.
think. But yeah,
And then also
um,
Jack Salmon, Tim
Jack
Salmon's
Salmon.
nephew.
Yep, nephew. UNLV kid. I really like the Bird kid, Justin Bird, the senior they got for 400,000 out of oh my gosh, not Arkansas. Oh my
Auburn.
gosh, Georgia, right?
Oh, wait, no. Wait, who? Bird?
Bird, Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Georgia.
yeah. Love just such an efficient mover down the mountain. Just his movements are really special. Like just watching him pitch is a treat. Um, Another guy needs some stuff, but when you're getting into the sixth round, but he's a guy I'm kind of keeping tabs on. Couldn't sign Cam Jackson. That was kind of a bummer. Would have been a fun project but he's going to go to Oklahoma. Um, 15th rounder, 15th rounder that probably had third, fourth round value kind of thing. And couldn't match the price, but I liked Cam Jackson. Hopefully a couple years down the road, see what he is. Um, Zach, Angels draft, man. What'd you think, buddy?
They sure did have one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure they selected some players that may or may not play for them in the future.
uh, Pitchers and position players
Pitchers,
and high
I really like
schoolers
the
and
guy they
college.
some ball players
Yeah.
certainly.
Zach. They picked the guy I think you're really gonna like. He plays baseball.
Mm. I
He wears a glove on his
I
hand. It's crazy.
really like
He's
when the Angels pick guys that can play baseball. That
Yeah,
somewhere between the age of 17 and 23, roughly.
yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I liked
yeah,
him too. He was my favorite.
yeah. I liked ball player number 3.
No,
Joe Random.
Zach is like the only staff member that I did not send out on amateur baseball duties this
No,
spring.
you did not.
I think I asked you
You
to do.
asked.
I did ask. I did
I mean,
ask you
that's
to.
also middle of hockey season. It's like he
Yeah,
can't.
He said no. It's you can't do it.
busy,
But area code games
busy.
this next week. A lot of local talent, so that'll be fun. Long Beach will be fun. We'll get Thomas Murray will be there. Brady Charette. Alex Hutton will be there. Alex Hutton, speaking of hockey, Kings Kings writer for the Tribune. He's going to be covering some area code games. I'll be down there. And then Tuesday night, expect some movement with the Angels farm system. Can't give too much away, but if you are in the Inland Empire, San Bernardino on Tuesday night might be a good night to go there. So, um, if you want to go see Gavin and friends, that's what I would say. So, I haven't had that confirmed. One thing I do have confirmed: Luke Murphy the Angels will be calling up Luke Murphy, relief prospect, former Vanderbilt closer. Um, He'll come up sometime this weekend. I believe he's traveling today during the off day, and I think he'll be activated tomorrow. They have a roster spot for him. He's allowed 3 runs in 38 innings with Double A Rocket City this year. So obviously it's like a sub 1. It's like a 0.7 ERA or something. He's missed bats. He's striking out guys at over 30% clip. So excited for him. 26 years old. He's fought his way. He was part of the all pitchers draft. Got through some Rule 5 stuff. He's happy for him. So good guy. Luke Murphy's going to be making his big league debut sometime, hopefully this weekend.
So the Angels are replacing a all pitchers draftee Chase Silseth with another all pitchers
Hey,
draftee.
fifth guy out of 20, man. They got 19 guys out of that. They got 19 guys, and 5 of them are going to be big leaguers, and 4 of them for the Angels. That's you would have liked to have seen your first rounder get some positive WAR value, probably. Maybe the second rounder a little bit of positive WAR value, but hey, you guys from it going from none to 5, good on them. So, yippee. Anything else baseball related, guys? I'm just trying to think. Like, I wanted to hit on the Randy Flores thing we did. We got through the trade deadline stuff, the draft. I'll probably do a draft show or something with Thomas and Anthony. Because Anthony, we'll touch a little more on the Angels draft on a different episode or something. But yeah, good time. I was in the air for the first 4 rounds. That was atrocious, awful. So JFK is the worst. Like hell on earth is so bad. I do not like JFK. So airport. Let's keep it non-political here. Let's go
Where were
into
you
some.
on?
What's that?
Where were you on July whatever
July 4th?
1916? 69.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was November.
Yeah, he was
Was it
shot in
November?
November, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Did you
I've
watch
been to
that
the
James Franco
I've been to the
show,
plaza
by the way?
before. No.
It's James Franco goes back in time to try and prevent the killing of JFK.
No.
Terrible. It was awful. It was a genuinely crap show.
We are
Um,
we are low on ideas in the
it
entertainment
was a
industry these
Stephen
days.
King book.
Oh,
Oh, you know what? My friends have read that book in their little book club.
The
Yeah.
book I'm sure is fine, but the
They've said the
show,
book is interesting. Yeah.
yeah, show is garbage.
Sure.
Let's talk some hockey. Oh, one thing I do want to say about Sweden. I don't think I sent you guys the video. You know the whole like the European mind can't comprehend
yeah.
videos with the Americas. Sitting there July 3rd, in the middle heart of Stockholm, like right outside the Royal Palace, and they had the entire Swedish Air Force fly over the city. I was like, it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, the European mind can't comprehend. I was laughing my butt off, like just sitting there, and everyone's like, this is really cool, and I'm like, yeah, they do that a lot at football games in America. So
I've seen a military jet once or twice. Yeah.
yeah, every now and then. Actually, I mean, it was cool, but it was just one of those funny deals. Let's talk hockey. Speaking of Sweden, um, so my
Boy, can
family,
we.
my family is from Karlstad, and the number one news story was not that Sweden lost 3-0 to France in the World Cup, even though they were playing very well for Sweden. Some Swedish center signed what at the moment, as of like 48 hours ago, was the
Still
largest
is.
year by year,
Still is for this season.
at least for, yeah,
Because the extension
largest
doesn't kick in until next.
Yeah.
year by year annual value contract in NHL history. Leo Carlsson, a 5 by 18, or yes, 5
5 by 18.
years, 18 million every year. My brain is not going to do that math that quickly, but significant
90
value.
million.
Thank you. Um, it was very big news out there following that every day with the Philly thing. It was interesting, man. So I was seeing it firsthand from a way outside perspective to that degree. What was it like here, guys? That had to have been nuts.
Well, have you ever seen a dumpster lit on fire before?
Yeah, but I
Social
can't.
media was
I
not a
no
fun place to
comment
be
because
that week.
the official
It,
records say I didn't start it. But yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the social media timeline in our corners based on our algorithms, not the place to live for those few days. Yeah, it was nuts, man. Like it was completely out of the blue when the offer sheet came down, and Jack and I detailed this in detail on Ducks and Deep, wherever fine podcasts were sold. Um, I had left the house. I was out. I was on my way to go hang out with people, and then notification pops up on my phone, and my fiance and I say, "Well, gotta turn around, gotta turn around and go write some stuff and say some stuff into a camera and a microphone and derail my entire Friday." It was insane, and the reactions coming out of it were so myriad and changed so dramatically over the course of the week before the Ducks did ultimately decide to match. Um, I mean, the reasoning being it's a lot of money. We don't know if Leo will ever be worth that amount of money, but he is to the team because the 4 draft picks they would have gotten in return, you're not guaranteed to find another Leo Carlsson in those 4 picks, particularly the ones that they were going to get from Philly being late 20s or so over the next 4 years. Even if you were to package those for somebody else, like that's the only way you can make the value of it. If you package those together to get somebody of that kind of caliber back, all those questions didn't need to be asked or answered or anything else, even though we debated them for quite a few days because he is a Duck. 18 million, which, as Taylor alluded to, will be passed up by Macklin Celebrini, whose 18.8 deal kicks in next year. Funny how everyone's calling that team friendly, where Leo's is an albatross. Very interesting how
Well,
the perceptions of that are.
one had 115 points as a 19-year-old
I
in the
know,
NHL.
I know,
dude.
but he. So what? He would if he made the full 20. Is that any better or worse than 18.8? Not really. It's roughly the
Okay.
same. Anyway,
We
that's
went
beside
through
the point.
this.
Beside the
Yeah,
point. Um, it's nuts. And the Ducks are now in a tough spot because they still have Cutter Gauthier to sign and not enough money to do so. And every day, luckily, we're in kind of a quiet period where everybody sort of just like sat back on it. And I think also because Cutter doesn't have any sort of the leverage that Leo does or did to sign an offer. All you can do is wait, and so we'll probably get that the day before training camp, if that, in September. So I don't know where you want to go from this because we kind of have
So I
pulled it
wasn't
apart over the
familiar
last
with
week and a
what
half.
I wasn't familiar with what was going on behind the scenes because it wasn't coming across. I don't my Swedish wasn't great, despite how well they speak English over there. So basically, because we gave Pat a lot of crap in February, January for
Mhm.
not trying to extend Leo. He
And,
was.
and I gave
That's
him a
the
lot of crap the day that the offer sheet came out, and I
right,
think
Yeah,
and
everybody
that's
and we
rightfully
did
did at the
too.
time. Yeah,
yeah, is from my perspective, I'm sitting there, man, like, Pat, man, what's going on here? And it's like, no, Pat was doing his job, but the agency knew that this offer sheet was coming, and you're not going to turn that down.
Well, it's not so much they knew the offer sheet was coming. It was more so we're not signing until Bedard signs because that's
Yeah.
our
yeah.
comp.
And
Once
he signed for
Bedard's,
15,
yeah, but it was
16.
after. No, it was 15. I
Oh,
thought.
was it 15? Yeah,
Yeah, it
no,
was
you're right.
15,
You're
but it
right.
was
5 by
after the offer
15.
sheet.
It was after the offer sheet and after another shoulder surgery that came in
Yeah.
Yeah.
after Leo signed his contract as well. So
But just
it's
going through my
yeah,
phase of it, like, I'm sitting there being like, Philly's psycho. Pat didn't do what he was supposed to do. Now Pat's stuck in the situation. It's no, Philly's still psycho. Like
hmm
give and I do love the new rivalry of the orange rivalry. It's hilarious. Um,
Zach, if you travel and cover the game in Philadelphia, do you count as a war correspondent?
I'll wear a flak jacket and everything. Luckily that's like the second road trip of the season is Philly.
Yeah, because it's like October 24th, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a day game too, so less
Oh.
opportunity for the Philadelphia people to get liquored up ahead of time.
see
Um,
did you guys see Hustle, the Adam Sandler movie?
no,
Bas
Oh.
it's a basketball movie where he's a scout and everything, but he has a line early in the movie and he's like, "Oh, no one has I can't remember the exact wording of it, but basically he's like, no sports fan base is more educated and deliberate about accepting things quite like Philadelphia."
they are a fun group that I don't know why the Anaheim Ducks have chosen to make their enemy, and it's not even the Ducks choosing to make their enemy because this isn't.
Philly is all out war. It's
Yeah,
Philly.
no, I understand that, but it is more fan base rivalry than it is on ice rivalry. The
But
on
it's
ice stuff,
it's it's creeped into on ice stuff
yes,
because the fans they're feeding off the fans.
and they feed out the fans, and Zegers added his own gasoline to the
Right.
fire last year with the phone call thing and everything else. Um, but it is more vitriolic among the fan bases than it is the
Yeah.
players. But like you said, it is spilling over. Um, it could have been any other team. It could have been, the Dallas Stars for all I care. Like, but it anyway. Um, it's I I don't know that I did a podcast on our airwaves since Leo's agent had the big interview with Friedman, and I'm willing to take back some of the criticism of Verbeek, specifically because
100%.
they just weren't willing to engage, seemingly. Now, I do question because of how adamant the agent was about repeating this wasn't the Ducks, this wasn't Carlson, this was me, this wasn't the Ducks, this wasn't Carlson, this was me, to because the other thing he said towards the end of that interview was the one thing that they didn't like from their side of things of how everything went down was the amount of ire that was put towards Verbeek and some of it towards Carlson. Fans saying, "Well, Carlson didn't have to sign the contract. That's greedy of him to sign that big deal," or going the other way with calling Pat incompetent and whatever else. So he was like, no, we weren't engaging with the Ducks, and we were the ones that were telling Leo to hold back and we can get more money. Um, is that just taking on the arrows for your client and the person you have to work with because they do have other clients on the Ducks roster, namely Alex Killorn and Chris Kreider, guys that may or may not be on the team come September based on salary cap negotiation needs. That's not me reporting anything. That's just somebody's going to have to move. There
The
isn't
writing
enough.
on the wall.
Yeah, somebody has to get off the payroll. Um, I don't know how much of that is him just taking the bullets or what, but it was clear that there was just like, no, we're going to wait for the market to play out. And I think that's also the right thing to do. Like for all the criticisms you can lob either way, this is a rapidly changing landscape in the NHL, as we saw with Celebrini's contract. Like the salary cap is going to continue to go up. These top young, exciting players that are redefining the league are going to be hitting their due dates soon enough, and the money's going to keep going up. And so, why would you sign the reported $10 million contract back in September when you have no idea what that number is going to be by the time you get to July 1st? So I don't blame them for waiting. I don't blame Verbeek for not necessarily getting it done. You could probably have been more aggressive at some point to get things to avoid getting to July 1st altogether. Um, but when it came down to how it ended up, it's just sort of that's the card that the agency played.
But
And this isn't really a criticism per se, but I am genuinely curious. It was reported by Elliot Friedman that after they had gotten the offer sheet from Philadelphia, before they signed it, Leo Carlsson and his agency went back to the Ducks and said, "Hey, we have an offer sheet. Um, we're going to ask you for $15 million. Will you take it?" And they came back and offered what, 12 to 12 and a half.
12 and a half. Yeah.
I'm curious about the mindset of Pat Verbeek in that moment when you hear, Leo and his camp tell you, "We have an offer sheet. If you don't give us $15 million, we're going to sign it, or at least come back with a very competitive offer." You either, I mean, you could also look at it as they're bluffing. They don't have something that ridiculous, but you have to think they might have gotten something ludicrous.
yeah,
But I think I have to think that the mindset was, well, they're asking for 15, so that's probably 15.
Right.
Like you can't expect one, you can't expect the 18. Secondly, you can't expect the bonus structure that it ended up
Oh
being, because
yeah.
that's a big hang up in all this too that we haven't mentioned is he got $19 million the day that the contract gets like put through. And then you get it again next July 1st. So in a span of less than a full calendar year, he'll get over 20 or over $40 million in signing bonuses, which is
well,
ludicrous. But it's it. But I think the other thing that when we were talking about like should you expect it or not, nobody's going to offer a fair deal in an offer sheet because the
Yeah.
opposing team would just match it instantaneously. You have to offer something ludicrous, and that's what the Flyers did, and that's what Pat Verbeek had to reckon with on July 3rd.
I guess my point is why only 12 to 12 and a half? I'm
He's
not
trying
saying
to
go
keep the
for
salary
I
structure in
know.
but I
place.
I'm
can give
not
you that
saying
one.
go for 15,
Yeah.
but like
I can give you the 12.
yeah.
And it's
It's
because this was my mindset is offer him and Kempy just signed down the road, right? For an 8 by 11. So up it by 1 year. Give him an 8 by 12. Not a 5 by 12, but an 8 by 12.
that's
Yeah,
what that was
but
offered. It was 8 by 12, 12 and a half.
But that's what I'm saying is you make him the highest paid Swede, you make him the highest paid in your region. It's you play the market with what the market's given you, and that's why I was sitting there saying, because I think I said it in February, is I'm like, give him an 8 by 12, give him 1 million more than what the highest other Swede is doing.
yeah, but again, it just based on how things looked, it doesn't sound like that would have gotten it done
No,
early.
not no
Like they were gonna
chance.
wait. Because that's the thing that I have to wonder too, is like I they were naive to not, I guess Carlson's side might have been a little naive not to think that we were gonna get offer sheeted, that there wouldn't be something come in.
Well,
Uh
they even said they knew it was a possibility. They didn't think it was going to be that
right.
significant.
So but if the offer sheets are if you're $15 million offer sheets, do they sign that? Or do they say we're going to wait to see what Bedard does still? Like, there's no way to know. It's all very hypothetical. Um, because if when Bedard comes in and signs the 15, then you at that time are now like, well, crap, we could have gotten 16 or 17 with an offer sheet, and now we can't ask for more than Connor Bedard because it's just not where we are, or we have to at least get the to match that. So I don't know what their ultimate goal was, like what their internal projection was. but either way, the 18 blows it out of the water. And like Leo said, when we talked to him in Karlstad, Sweden, uh, he said everybody would say yes to that. Like it's just,
Yeah.
what do you 99% of people signed that because yeah, of course you are. And we'll finally let Taylor jump in here. Uh, I don't want to
I
hear any
know.
criticism of Leo in terms of, well, he could have signed for lower. Look at all these other guys that have taken team friendly deals that allowed the team to work. Yeah, yeah,
How's
sure.
that word for Connor McDavid?
But even like whether it's Connor, whether it's Crosby,
18 million, bro.
those guys signed. That was not their first free agent deals. Those were not their deals coming off of ELCs. That was like their second or third deals when they were in the middle of very obvious Stanley Cup contention windows. Like McDavid just did that because he said, I'm giving you 2 years. We've been to the final 2 years in a row. I'm giving you 2 more years. Figure it out, or I'm going to go. And that's not where Leo is. Leo is in a position to redefine the market and lead his generation of players forward. And he got offered an insane sum of money that I would take,
Yeah,
right?
21 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor.
You got nothing.
That- Yes. Uh, you nothing. I got nothing. No. Like what else is there to say? Is the thing that I love about it is that we have a rivalry in hockey. And it is not on the ice. It is literally front office to front office. That's a fun thing to see.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there really hasn't been any animosity between the front offices until this offer sheet. Like it's not like
No, you're right.
the Ducks didn't force the Flyers to trade Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier said, "I'm not re-signing, so you might as well trade me." And the Ducks just gave him the best offer.
And then
Yeah, they
they
got
Trevor
Jamie Drysdale, who
Zegras,
they like.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
and then they
The Trevor Zegras trade. I don't see there being any animosity because at the time Trevor Zegras was the lowest possible value that you could have possibly traded him for, and the Ducks blatantly lost that trade.
Well, I just love that Trevor's the one that pushed
Right,
that. That's
right.
Trevor's the one that pushed that because he deserved to. He had the right to do that. You don't blame Trevor for going out and doing what he did because I loved that. I thought it was, you know, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Um,
no, happy for Leo. Happy for Leo. It was really cool being there for it and seeing the reaction from basically his hometown. That was really cool to kind of be there as part of it. Not on purpose by any sense. Um, hopefully, Leo pitches me some money and hopefully we have, hopefully we're related way back. So, but no, it was exciting. And then, yeah, it was very exciting. I'm happy for Leo on that one.
Yeah,
So,
I
real,
wish it didn't have to come to all that. Like I wish it was
yeah.
just taken care of cleanly. And I mean not even just for like the team's sake, but for my sake. Um but it's just it the only way to know how this goes going forward, like relationship wise, is to see where they are in just a month and a half from now. To just get a better feel of how everyone's kind of settled down over the summer and see how the rest of it all shakes out, which I know we have time to talk about. But um, it seemed like everybody was on the right page when we talked to them. Pat said there's no hard feelings, and they use the leverages they have in the CBA. And Leo said there was no hard feelings because it's just business, and everybody seems okay. We'll just see what the fallout is.
Real quick on
um,
the signing bonus thing, just because we
Mhm.
didn't go in depth with it. We did on the crash or not crash the Ducks and
Hey
Deep
now,
Wrong Ducks podcast.
hey now.
ooh,
Uh, so the Ducks are paying 24 million dollars in signing bonuses this year. 19.95 of that's going to Leo. Three of that is going to Pavel Minchikov, who signed that pretty clearly overvalued contract because of the threat of an offer sheet after that whole fiasco with Leo Carlsson
Mhm.
went down. If you take those two out, it's literally just Chris Kreider at a $1 million signing bonus that was not signed by the Ducks. It was obviously
Mhm.
signed by the Rangers. And Beckett Seneca has $97,000 signing bonus.
nice.
Yeah, the Ducks Verbeek and the under the Ducks or under Verbeek, the Ducks have not given out signing bonuses.
Under the Samuel Ellis period.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
I want to run back to one thing because I'm upset that Macklin Celebrini will not be a Vancouver Canuck in the
Mm.
like coming years. Um,
Sorry to hear about that.
Real quick on Macklin, because I don't think I can get enough of this kid. He's
He's too
got to be
good.
my favorite player in the league,
He's too
man.
good.
He's so fun.
Yeah.
He's so fun. So I'm gonna give that. NHL draft. Did you guys touch on the draft at all on the NHL side?
I don't think so. I mean,
No.
Because
I think I touched on it briefly just because of the Mason and the McTavish and Zellweger trades that happened
right.
that day too, and how that led into who and how they drafted.
Well, we kind of have a bit of it that kind of impacts part of the year is the Ducks need that extra wing, right? We talk about the defense ad nauseum. Like they still need to fix the defense, but they needed that extra wing. Nikita Klepov signs his ELC, right? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. Klepov, now, I mean, everyone in juniors produces 97 points in 67 games, 60 assists, almost an assist per game kind of level of performance. And at what was he, 15th overall selection? I mean, good
15,
value,
yeah.
right? Good value of production, etc. Who's to say Klepov couldn't be your third wing?
He could be. I think it's interesting because of a couple things. One, he signed his ELC the day after Michigan State officially announced their college roster for the year, and he
Was
was on
Nielsen
it.
on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Eric Nilsson's on that, and Klepov was also on that. And then the next day, they're like, actually, I'm going to sign my ELC and try my shot at making the team. Why that's interesting too is because Pat did say when he was drafted that they do see him on a fast track to the NHL, but it sounded like at the time that it was more fast track of he goes to college for a year, he gets bigger and stronger, like all we want all these kids to do, and then next year is his time to make a push, especially because the Ducks are already going to have Roger McQueen trying to fight his way into the to lineup this year, and that just kind of felt like okay, that's a perfectly reasonable track to take, and okay, off you go. Let's the plan's in place. See you in a year, bud. But now that's not the case, and now again, when we talk about just the money restrictions everybody's going to be under because we still don't know what Cutter's going to sign for. There's rumors every day about what number he wants and what he doesn't want, and there's no way to know. I'm not even going to get into that kind of speculation because we'll know when he signs the deal. And one way or another, like the amount of money the Ducks have left is not what he's going to sign for. I think we know that. So then we also know that you're going to get rid of some of uh,
Mm,
these guys that have some money on your cap. Whether it's Vetrano, I think is almost assuredly has to find his way out, and then whether it's Kaloran or Kreider or both, who,
Kreider,
who
yeah.
knows? Who knows? Who knows? But that does leave open spots in your wings. And when I asked Pat, like, okay, well, are you looking uh to get anything else into the lineup? And he said, well, we have Sam Colangelo. He's got a chance there to make an impact. It's like, okay, so internal, got it. Well, who can you inject a bit of talent internally? Nikita Klepov is a kid that can do it. Is he going to be ready to do it? I don't know. Like he's a small kid.
He is. I I like him.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. Um, the two like obviously Klepov is the big ticket here, right? Because you got oh my gosh, Nordmark, second guy out of Djurgården, IF in a
yeah.
row. Like Nielsen's going to be at Michigan State. I can't imagine Nordmark is anywhere close though, even though he was a perfect.
No,
But like Nordmark is a he didn't produce, and keep in mind he was in Swedish juniors, not Allsvenskan, but Swedish juniors. He had a lot of penalty minutes actually, surprisingly, and that's not because he was physical. I think it was because of stick work
slow feet.
defensively things.
Sure.
So I just look at Klepov and I think, man, like there's your cheap wing option.
Yeah, I don't. I
Because
think
Lucas Pettersson's not going to be ready.
he could be.
But
Uh,
who we were talking about? Not Sidorov last year,
Igor Sidorov. Yeah, he had sort of a step back year for the
right?
goals.
It's but like Nestorenko's fine,
Yeah.
Colangelo's fine, but that's not who you want on your third scoring.
No. And again, if you're talking about third line, I mean, Troy Terry's not going to be playing for the first 5 months of the or first 3 months of the year.
Beckett's
So
going to be running 22-minute games every.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Beckett and Cutter, and that's kind of your other scoring wings. Uh, I don't know. It, I will be surprised to see, or not surprised, but very curious to see how much Klepov can put on his body between when we saw him in dev camp and training camp. He's quick. Like I'll give him his skating stride's good. I like the way he skates. I like the way he moves. Um, and he does have the shooting talent, but to to have a kid that was like, well, maybe I'll go to college and get bigger to now say, all right, you're going to get your shot in the NHL. Like, I just don't know that he's ready for that. But if that's the situation you have to be in, then I guess that's also a so be it. But I don't know how this is going to get handled because it's either juniors or the NHL. He
Yeah,
can't go anywhere
that's the other
else.
thing I didn't mention is because of the ELC and because
Yeah.
of his age, he can't shoot at San Diego.
He can't go to San Diego. He can't go to back to college. So I, I don't
So
know.
he's going to Saginaw or Anaheim, man.
I still think the best thing for him to do would be go develop for another year because what's the point of like
We also
burning
said
him
the
so
same.
early?
Now, different scenario because of the, I don't want to call it a talent gap, but a talent gap. We said the same thing about Beckett all the way until like October 1st.
Yeah, but Beckett has the size going for him.
Yeah.
Like Beckett was able to grow into it, whereas Klepov,
He's
eh,
big, but he's not that big.
no.
6 foot 180, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a generous 6 foot.
As
Yeah,
I would say,
yeah, that's
he's
what
5'11", 175, but
his elite prospect says, 6 foot 181.
him and
Like
I have a very similar mold. I am also
we
6 foot.
when we talked to him at Def Camp, like he is a kid. He's very much a 18-year-old kid. Like I
Was it
just
him or Nordmark that was the it was Nordmark, right? That was just very Swedish, like very
very
just what do you have to do? Be better.
yeah, that was what do you like about your game? I am offensive and I score
I'm good,
goals. Okay,
good,
great.
good, good goal
Thanks.
scorer.
Thanks for showing up, Marcus. Um, no, I just I'm excited to see like if the Ducks really are this confident that he can make a shot at it, great.
They
I'd
wouldn't have
love to
given him the
I'd love
ELC if not.
right. I'd love to see it. Like if you're that confident, show me why you're that confident. But I also know that if he doesn't perform, then they're not gonna put him in. They're gonna send him back. Like Beckett had to do a lot of growth in a short amount of time to make his spot on the roster worth it. And he certainly did. And maybe Klepov can, but I just
How
base
long
sight unseen, I don't think that's
they can
something they
give
can
him?
rely on.
They can give him 10 games before they have to send him
Not
back.
once you play the 10th game, you're there. So
Ineligible.
you got nine game tryout.
And then they couldn't send him to San Diego until
Now
like April or whatever.
there's rules about like in theory they could bench him for 2 weeks and then he can go down if you bench him for 10 consecutive games, then he can go down the AHL on a 2 week conditioning stint. And that
Oh,
would get him to then they could stretch that out to letting him go to World Juniors, and then by the time you're in January, then maybe he could play. But it's I don't know. I just don't know that that's worth messing around with a kid like that because he's not some standout like top three pick. Like wow, we got to make sure to try to get him in here. It's like he's a 15th pick, and many places had him higher. And Verbeek said plenty of times that they wouldn't have made the McTavish trade if he wasn't available at that spot because they really wanted this kid. But he still looked like a project from not a long term project, but at least like 1 year of next level seasoning, whether that was one more junior year or um, I like the college route for these guys to get bigger, stronger, especially a program like Michigan State that's supposed to be good. So
well, look, let's flowers and rainbows this thing. You have an option that you didn't have before up until a month ago.
yeah,
Like, I mean, like, yeah, you don't. That's not the option you necessarily want as your forced option, but like, you have an option. So
yeah.
let's be real pretty about it. Come on, smile, Zach. Come on.
No, I look like here's the deal. If he comes in and performs to the level that makes him an option, great. Happy to see it. At this point, I'm more interested in what Roger McQueen looks like than what Nikita Klepov looks like. Because I think Roger McQueen is kind of a bigger foundational piece to what you're going to be doing going forward than whatever Nikita Klepov ends up being. Even if Klepov becomes good, like you know, second line scoring winger, but that's I think there's other things that need to be sorted out before I worry about what his prospects are.
Jack, anything else on kind of just early? We're in July still. I know that we're close to August, but we're in July still. We still have a month and change before we have to worry about what the Ducks roster construction is going to really look like. But anything to kind of add to this draft, or someone in the draft that you liked, someone that you liked in the Ducks draft?
Um, I mean, Klepov is obviously just the headliner, not just because he's the first overall or first round pick for the Ducks, but also just the sheer upside that he has. Michigan State is a perennial top team in the NCAA,
Ugh,
and I was pretty
ugh.
excited to see what he would do there. Um, but in terms of like what this roster, you said what the roster is going to look like. Um, um, we talked a little bit about in the last episode about the defense. They lose Truba and they lose Gudis. Bring in Nick Jensen because he has a pulse and two skates
And is right-handed.
and is right-handed. I
I can do
am
that.
I am not convinced that the public perception is the Ducks blue line is awful. It's going to be terrible. It's this or whatever. It was bad last year. Like I don't know if it's going to be that much worse or worse at all than what they had last year. I think Gudis and Truba were additions by subtraction. I like the idea of giving Ian Moore everyday reps on the blue line. Um, Tyson Hines played okay enough for to be the third line or the third pairing defenseman. I think Minchikov down the stretch and in the playoffs showed more signs and more flashes of the player that we thought he might be able to be. Jackson Lacombe. Don't need to worry about that at all. Drew Helleson, he really should be a seventh defenseman, but they have. Well, I guess
He might
I'm just
still
Still,
he
be.
might still be the seventh defenseman behind Lunau. I'm just
yeah.
reading Puckpedia's depth chart right now. They have Lunau in the press box, so I just completely missed him. Luno's going to be a wild card for this team, a huge wild card for this team because he has a chance to show that he's capable and take the next step in his development. But also, you're going to run into growing pains with him, like you did with Beckett Seneca last year, although obviously different skill sets and all that. But I think Luno's going to be a wild card for this blue line this upcoming year.
Well, and
I
one wing we didn't mention was Roger.
yeah. Yeah, I think I mean based on the way the forward group looks, I think Roger has a pretty good shot at
Yeah.
cracking in because I think they need him to. In the same way that like they need the defense to succeed, I'm excited to see the young defensemen go out and give it a go. Like let you know what we've talked about how good this defensive pipeline has been for years. And at some point, they were all going to come in, and maybe it's a little bit earlier, and we're still missing like a Stian Solberg in the mix. I don't know that he's ready to make the jump yet, but I want to see what all these kids go and do. Throw them in the deep end and see what happens. Because I think we know what Jackson Lacombe is. Pavel Mintyukov, he did get better, but that was also with the help
Yeah.
of John Carlson at his side. So Minty, you've got the big money contract. Go and show that you're worth it. Tristan Luneau, you've made the team 3 different times. You've been worthy enough to be up here, and for whatever circumstances, you haven't. Now's your chance. You're overripe. You better come in and perform like the big, strong brick wall that he is. I'm excited to see these guys like just get the rope and run with it because I think the thing that I was most encouraged by in year one of Quenneville versus year two of Cronin was the ability to let guys go out and play. And if you make a mistake, sure, it's going to happen, but they would get better and they're allowed to make mistakes. And I think that will be a help for this young decor, which, as Jack alluded to, the defense wasn't all that great last year anyway. So if it's the same, It can't really be any worse, I don't think.
No,
So just let it
Hope
go. See
not.
see what it is.
they were already one of the worst defensive teams in hockey last year.
Yeah. Again, when we look at the roster construction, if we want to go all the way back to where we started the Duck side of things and talk about Verbeek, this is the one place where I would still give him criticism is trading Zellweger and uh,
McTavish.
McTavish when he did, as early as he did. Same criticism that I had with the Zegers trade. Not that you wanted to bring them all the way in the season, but now you're in a spot where you have holes to fill and you have nothing to offer anybody. There's no like, yeah, they're gonna have to trade one of the veterans, but if you were able to package Chris Kreider with Olin Zellweger, you could then turn that into somebody that's like worth your while. And now you're gonna just be dumping them for salary purposes. So you again, a little bit of a mismanagement of assets there. Of
Yeah.
You could have foreseen that you were going to be in a pickle, and now you have nothing to. You had a position of strength, and now you no longer have that strength to operate from.
And to me, it's not just the fact that the timing of the trade. Like, yes, the timing could have been better, but also you can still make those trades at the time that he did. The problem is he didn't get any NHL ready talent back in any of those deals. And
Mhm.
look, if you want to get the draft picks, that's fine for the picks, but how do you not flip those draft picks for NHL talent? Like, how do
Because
you
they
just,
really love Nikita Klepov.
and I understand that, but
Yeah,
it's a team
Putting
that
a
you're
lot
trying to
of
sell. Yeah, you're trying to sell playoff aspirations, and you're selling off a couple of pretty significant pieces to your roster and not replenishing them with anything. Well, anything immediately, I should say.
yeah. No NHL roster players gotten back in any of the trades. I mean, unless you want to include AJ Greer, but even then, like,
That's not even part of the trade, right?
no. Well, no, different. I'm just talking
Oh,
about
that was
trades
that the
overall.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Gudis rights. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah. For Greer's rights, but
well, biggest thing, my mind, is you have two chips in the hole that you guys are forgetting about. You got Jet Wu, man. Jet Wu, greatest hockey player that's ever lived. Screw Macklin Celebrini.
sure.
So,
Secondly, just send Lucas Pettersson up to Vancouver for Philip Hronek.
right.
Give him another Pettersson, man. You're fine. Just go get Hronek. No big deal.
So funny enough, you mentioned Woo. My but
I was a big Jet Wu believer for obvious reasons. Love Jet Wu.
so my buddy and I are huge Brian Woo fans, the pitcher.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when the Ducks announced, it was the Elliot Friedman tweet, "Woo to Anaheim." I sent it to my buddy. I said, "Big addition for the Angels."
Good one.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Also,
Um,
looking at that blue line at the ages 25, 22,
Hmm.
23, 22, 25, 24, and then a 35-year-old Nick Jensen.
Who will be 36 when the season
Yes,
starts?
because it's September birthday. Nick
yeah.
Jensen's gonna be the summer camp caretakers that have like six kids on a leash walking around town.
Yeah, I mean, this is the down. If we want to, point to the flaws, Jackson Lacombe is your veteran leader of the defense at 25 years old. It's why I thought that they probably should have fought to keep at least Jacob Truba, but not at the money, obviously, that Truba
Oh
wanted.
God,
But
no, not at that money.
it just feels like they didn't do enough to bolster the edges. And I'm excited to see these kids get the free reign to do stuff, but it really feels like if that doesn't work, there is no backup plan because there's no room for it. So you got to hope it works.
Let's wrap. Let's wrap. Looking at time and everything. Let's try and close it out. Closing thoughts on
We didn't do
Ducks.
our numbers for
We did
today's
not.
episode.
I have it open.
Me too.
I was going to ask about it. So do you have a 39 on either side?
Well, for the Ducks, the man that ended the longest game in Ducks history, Peter Sikora.
I was a big Sakura fan as a kid.
Yeah, the
The
game
game
that
that
would
would
not
not end
end
just ended.
just has.
Or it just has.
Yeah,
I accidentally
Steve
closed the
Levy on the
page, so
call.
I'm bringing it up right now.
Also,
I
such
have one
legends
for.
as Mason Raymond and
Yes.
I
Travis
was gonna say
Green.
I have one for all the wrong reasons. Mason Raymond is
Yep.
definitely one of my favorites. Um, I think I still owe him money from Sharkies. Yeah, Mason's a
Nice.
good dude.
Nice.
Pat Maroon and Mason,
That's
great
fair.
guys. Absolutely love them.
Yeah. And Matt Bolesky. You know,
I did like
shout out.
Bolesky.
Shout out contract year Matt Bolesky.
He was Bolesky ended
Playoff
up in
contract
Ontario.
year, Matt Bolesky.
Yeah.
Bolesky's
What was it,
last
8
games
goals or
were
something like that?
he was
Yeah.
Ontario contract.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Let me look him
He
up.
played really well out there. But yeah, Mason Raymond is he's a bro. And then Angels side, it really is hard not to go with Keenan Middleton. I know that the fan base does
Yeah.
not like him, but I loved Keenan. Keenan was a good dude. I loved
No.
Keenan, but Brian Ward, Uncle
There's
Brian,
only one guy for me on the Angels list. Rob
Mike Witt.
Quinlan.
Oh, Rob Quinlan. Love that
Oh,
guy.
Q.
everyone loved Quinlan.
Love Q.
Yes.
Mike
I'll go
Witt,
Jason Grilly.
Grilly's a good one.
Grilly cheese.
Grilly was that's a frat bro.
Sure.
Jason Grilly and I have something very in common, and it is what happened to our midsection when we hit 33.
Yikes.
Yeah. Um
Russell Branyan. Shout him out.
there was a few good ones in there, man.
Mm,
JB Shuck,
yeah.
Dave
Very
Parker's a good
randomly,
one.
JB Shuck making that unbelievable grab in left field, falling over the wall.
When he
Do
was
you
the
remember
worst
that?
defender in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the worst defender in the league, but he made that play. I was there that night. And then Chris Crone, CJ's dad.
Is it
Um,
really? Huh.
and then Dylan Thomas, not the guy from the Taylor Swift song. Zach, did you get that? Come on, tell me you got that reference.
Dylan Thomas?
She has that song about Dylan Thomas. Oh
No.
my God. Just are you even a Swiftie, bro? Do you even Swift?
Are you sure you even have the right name?
Yes. Dylan Thomas. Look it up. Lyrics.
I'm looking
It's
it up
off
right
of
now.
the what was the album before this one? I'm telling you right now. I'm pulling it up.
Oh, you're
Taylor knows his
yeah.
Taylor Swift songs. Mm.
The song's not about Dylan Thomas.
No, he's just in the chorus. She
Yeah.
mentioned him
Like
3 times, I can tell you that.
yeah, okay.
Dylan Thomas, I think, was playing for Salt Lake when that song came out, I think. So
Mm,
that was fun. What song is
yeah.
that? Tortured Poets. What's the song?
It's Tortured Poets Department.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. So
You're not Dylan Thomas. I'm not
look at
Patterson.
me, man. Swifting out.
I can't wait for our next episode because the 40s on the Angels side, some real good hitters.
Oh, I can only imagine.
The 40s on the Ducks side, yikes.
It's gonna be fun. Well, hopefully our next episode. I think
Yikes.
our next episode is gonna be post deadline. We'll get something going post deadline.
Yeah, sometime
Hopefully
in
we have
August.
something to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some good 40s for the
Are
Angels.
there? I haven't. I just
Yeah,
closed the page.
yeah, there
40s on
is.
the Angels.
Yeah. Number
Yeah.
40.
Well,
Back to
hopefully number
back.
40 is gone by that point for the sake of value.
Anyway,
Man, there are some really good ones.
yeah.
Wow, like Hall of Fame level.
Hmm.
Good stuff. Weekend plans, guys. What do you got, Jack? What do you got? I know what you're doing Friday and Sunday. Am I allowed to ask what you're doing Saturday? I know you're taking Saturday off.
Yeah, I just got a baby shower and
Oh,
work at my other job. Um, and it's also like that's like the only time I'm gonna see that side of the family until Christmas again, so
good call.
probably should see them.
Good call. Wedding?
Uh, that'll be next year.
Ah, okay.
So this is the first time seeing them since getting engaged, so
Nice. Congrats again.
thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You got Angels Friday,
An-
Sunday.
Angels Friday, Sunday. Maybe they'll make a trade 10 minutes before game time again.
It'd be nice.
Give you
Well,
something to do.
it'd be nice if they did it at like 2 o'clock.
It'd also be nice if Mo was available, not just behind home plate, right?
Yeah.
So, Zach, what do you got going on this weekend, man?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, brand new day.
So I'm babysitting the nephew tonight because they're gonna go see Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yep.
changing. Spider-Man is causing me to change diapers.
Yep.
Freaking Tom Holland douchebag.
That's my plan for tomorrow. Spider-Man, and am I doing anything else this weekend? No. I mean, I'm
Do you
doing other
like this
stuff, but
one? Like, do you like this
yeah.
saga of Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
A lot. Yeah. And I'm hearing great things about this one, so I'm excited to get that under the belt.
I'm a
And go
Garfield. Garfield was so good.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was a great Spider-Man. There was other issues with those movies.
okay.
His performance is not one of them.
Yeah, no. Garfield is a stud. I love Garfield.
Yeah.
Maguire, it set the tone. Maguire
Yeah.
set the tone. So,
Yeah. He's fine.
Jack, Spider-Man is a fictional character created by Stanley Lee that turned into a pretty substantial selling business through the comic book business that led to some cinematic items called movies. I don't
Moving pictures. Yeah.
moving pictures.
Yeah, you mentioned something about like Reese McGuire, like the catcher.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, for those that are unaware, Thomas Murray is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and Jack James doesn't watch movies. So,
Name one of their albums.
yeah,
I was literally just gonna when you asked for final thoughts, I was gonna say, Thomas, when you're watching this, go ahead and put an edit of your three favorite Eagles albums.
please just insert, just go eliminate us entirely, cap all this, and just a screenshot of Thomas with a list.
Next
Well,
time,
Thomas already appeared on the episode when you turned off your camera a second
right?
ago.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
so that's really good.
Next time we have an episode with Thomas, I'm just gonna be like, so Thomas, it's been a while. How are those three Eagles albums coming along?
Well, he's got the whole Philly thing because he's got
Right.
We got LeBron
we didn't
now.
even talk about it. Are we a real sports podcast if we didn't talk about the real elephant in the room of Philadelphia?
LeBron.
LeBron's going.
Yeah.
LeBron's gone.
He's a Sixer. No longer a Los Angeles resident.
He
It's
is
a
an
big
Inland
pivot
Empire
after
66
losing out on Leo Carlsson for
It's
Philadelphia.
it's
Who tweeted that?
That was Greg Wyshynski, I believe.
Such a good
yeah,
tweet.
That was a
yeah,
great
it's a
tweet.
good tweet.
Oh, so let's get the hell out of here, guys. Here, let's get out of here. We're going. Bad throw. Have
Terrible.
a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy. That's Zach Cavanagh. You guys can follow him on socials as Zach Cav. That's Jack James. You can follow him at Jack James. You can follow me at Taylor Blake Ward. You can find all our work at thesportingtribune.com. And let's go. Bye. Bye. Go away. See ya. Bye. Okay. Bye.